Hey y'all, this is Kellis Williams. I don't usually get on here and post things about myself. I get on here for entertainment, but I'm in a situation where I'm dealing with some things and I feel like I need to get some things off of my chest. My oldest son, Bradley Williams, passed away as a result of a tragic accident along with two of his very best friends this last September. It's been the worst 6 months of my life. And anyone that truly knows me knows that I live for my boys. And the things that I'm hearing that are being posted about me, that are being said about me, need to be addressed. His mother tells everyone I'm a no good, terrible, selfish human of a person. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect, because I'm not. No one is. But let me give you a little bit of context and some backstory. I didn't get to see my little boy for the first 3 months he was alive. She kept him away from me. Wouldn't even tell me what hospital he was in. I had to take her to court. She didn't even give him my last name. Had to have that changed. But prior to that, I adopted her daughter and raised her in her younger years as my own. I've always thought of her as my own. No questions asked. And I was asked to give up those rights, and I did. But as far as Bradley's concerned, my son never went without anything. I went hungry, making sure he was fed. There were a lot of things that I may have needed that I didn't get, because I wanted to make sure that he was taken care of. And this whole bullshit of using children as pawns or chess pieces like it's a fucking game, it's out of control. Men don't have the opportunity to do that, nor should they, and neither should the mothers. I fought, scratched, clawed for every second I could get with my boys, with Bradley. And for anyone, and I really don't give a shit who it is, to say otherwise, one day they're going to be judged for that. Not my job, not my place, but I am going to set the record straight. I could not tell you how many times this woman dropped my son off when he was young to me while I was at work. And thank God I had some very good friends. You know, they say friends are the family you choose. truer words have never been spoken. Because had it not been for them, I never would have made it through my 20s. I would not have. You know, she would disappear for months at a time. She wouldn't contact myself. She wouldn't contact Bradley. And then, you know, one day she would just decide to show back up. And I would get a call from the daycare center saying that his mom picked him up. I didn't have the rights to register him for daycare and da-di-da-di-da. And then she would take him away from me, usually demanding more money or trying to get something out of me, or somebody else pissed her off, so she was going to take it out on me, which ultimately was taking it out on Bradley. You know, I don't get it. I don't get why people have to be so horrible to each other, especially when a child is involved. You know, I don't even know how to explain this. If diplomacy was a degree, I'd have a fucking doctorate. Because I got to a point to where, you know, I figured out that I was dealing with a narcissistic sociopath. And I know a lot of people throw that around about their exes, but those who refuse to take ownership and hold themselves accountable and make other people feel like shit for the mistakes that they have made, and then they put on this persona when they're out in public like they are an angel, but when they're out of the public eye, they're demonic. They're horrible, nasty, mean people. And they make you second guess anything that you thought you knew. They make you feel guilty. They make you feel bad for trying to be a good parent. That's what I dealt with. And even after my son's passing, I'm still dealing with this to this day. And not only am I dealing with this, but my friends are getting messages from her dealing with this. You know, when my son passed, I was very fortunate. And I still am very fortunate to have been employed by a company that offered, you know, health or life insurance for your children. And it's one of those things you never want to sign up for or enroll in, because that means you're planning for the worst thing that could possibly happen, having to bury a child. No one should ever have to do that. No one. But I did it because when I was my youngest son's age, I lost my brother in a car accident. Didn't have life insurance, any of that. But back to the topic at hand. I made sure, without any question, that the funeral expenses, flower arrangements, everything was taken care of. I didn't ask her to split it 50-50. I could have, but I didn't. Because I wanted to make sure that my son was celebrated by the community, by his family, by his friends, for the short life that he was able to live. And somehow I'm the bad guy in all this. I don't get it. I don't get it, but I needed to get this off my chest because I'm being villainized as a horrible, selfish, nasty person. You know, people can say what they want to say about me. I've got thick skin. That's fine. If you don't like me, don't like me. I really don't give a shit. But what I do give a shit about is when people say that I didn't take care of my son, that I didn't love my son. I'd trade places with him right now, if I could. Yesterday was the 6-month anniversary since the accident. It was a tough day. And God bless my family, because I've been tough to deal with at times. I'm not in denial. I'm still having a hard time accepting it because it just doesn't feel real. The grief is just consuming me. And then on the same day I get calls from my friends because they're being harassed by Bradley's mother, because she thinks that she's going to get to me through them because I won't deal with her. You know, I've been there, I've done that. I don't allow people who are toxic or cancerous, because that's what they are. They're cancerous, because they just ruin everything. And if you allow them to get into your head, it spreads. I don't allow people like that in my life. I'll show you the door and tell you not to let it hit you on the ass on the way out. It's something else I want to address. And I'm going to catch a lot of shit for this, but I really don't care. You know, there were 5 teenagers in that vehicle. The driver made it. There were 2 boys, 3 girls. My son and his best friend, and one of their other good friends, it was a girl, didn't make it out. The driver and the front passenger made it out. I'm not gonna name names. I have a serious problem on how one of them is handling things, but the other one that is catching all of the criminal charges was what she did reckless, 100%. But I challenge anybody on TikTok, Facebook, in this county, in the United States, whatever, to say that they didn't do the same things that they were doing at that age. They were out being kids. Were the speeds at which they were traveling negligent? 100%. But there's not a civil case, a criminal case, None of this is going to make me feel better. None of it's going to bring my son back. And that girl is going to live with survivor's guilt for the rest of her life. And I think that is about the closest thing to damnation that someone can get. This is going to be with her for the rest of her life. I don't think she should be sent off for incarceration for a long period of time. I think serving the community and making sure she doesn't get behind the wheel of a vehicle, any vehicle, for an unknown amount of time. Is adequate punishment. Community service, adequate punishment. Nothing will humble somebody more than going to a homeless shelter or a women and children's shelter and donating their time or serving their time and seeing just how good you have it compared to some of these families that are out there. I had more than one set of parents growing up. My best friend Brian, his mom and dad basically raised me. Dawn and Gilbert Browning basically raised me, even when I wasn't a kid. And, Dawn Browning told me something, and I'll never forget it. And this was a long time ago. She said, you always help others without the expectation of getting anything in return. That's one of the greatest life lessons I've ever learned. Because it humbles you. And that's something, that I instilled in Bradley, that I instill in Levi, that I instill in Hudson. And Bradley, he did. He lived by those words, because that boy would have given his shirt off, the shirt off of his back, to anyone in need. He would go without to help anyone in need. Which brings me to my next point. Who the hell does she think she is? Because I can tell you how this is going to go. I want to have a benefit, fundraiser, whatever you want to call it, in the upcoming few months, because Bradley's birthday is on May 13th. I'd like to have it on his birthday. But I know if I try and do this, mark my words, this is how it will go. She will crucify me on social media, her and her group of cronies and her family. I want to have a benefit. I don't want anything from this. I don't need the money. I rarely ask anything from anybody. Rarely. All I want to do is celebrate the life that my son was able to live and do what I think he would have appreciated or would appreciate, is have a benefit and use the proceeds from the benefit to benefit or to donate that to the local wrestling teams. He always used to say that the Heron wrestling team needed more funding. They didn't get enough funding because they need new gear. They need new equipment. I want to help out wrestling teams that are like that. And my family did a lot of stuff during the holidays and just before the holidays in his name. And I just know if I have this benefit, she's going to do everything in her power to shut it down because she can't put her hand into the cookie jar. Because she can't stand the fact that anybody else but her is going to get attention in regards to this or anything else. So tell me, comment your opinions, please. What are your thoughts? I really just want to say fuck it and tell her to fuck around and find out. But then again, I don't want her to crucify my friends and my family to get to me. When Bradley passed away, I had brought up the whole thing that he had said, and he didn't say it just once. This was a consistent conversation that he and I would have, because when he was living with me, he wrestled for the Heron wrestling team. He said they need new mats, they need new equipment, they need new singlets. So my friend started a GoFundMe account. Within an hour, I had to shut it down. I didn't do the GoFundMe account. My best friends did. Because I was a mess. We probably could have raised $15,000, $20,000. Hell, it raised almost $2,000 in the first hour before I had to take it down. She went online, all over social media, telling people that I didn't have her permission to do this. This was somebody trying to profit off her son's death. And then she turned around and said, I was trying to profit off of our son's death. What kind of sick person does this? I mean, seriously. All I was trying to do is grieve. But I shut it down because my friends had people calling them and texting them and messaging them on Facebook and social media, threatening to burn their homes down, threatening to murder them. Come on, people. I'd walk through the fires of hell for any one of my friends or family. And I know they would do the same for me, but I would never ask that. And I'll never be able to pay those friends back for the hell that they went through on my behalf during the worst week and a half, 2 weeks of my life. So I just wanted to set the record straight. I want to let everybody know my side of it, because everybody's heard her side of it. She gets all over social media. She gets in front of these different news outlets and acts like she is just Mother Teresa. She's perfect. And it could not be any farther from the truth. I'm not perfect. I'll be the first one to tell you that. Never have been, never will be. Nobody is. We're human. We're flawed. And on the other side of this, the flip side, why is it that the mother gets all of this leeway to do all this shit and gets away with it, and I try to do something simple, and you watch, I'm going to get crucified for it? To me, this is just ridiculous. It's immature. It's hate, pure hate. And it's selfish. You know, Benton had this huge GoFundMe. I'm going to make this clear. This wasn't the city of Benton. This was a citizen of Benton that set this up. This GoFundMe, because they did their own GoFundMe. That was fine. Didn't say a word. Raised $52,000, $53,000 at a minimum. And this has nothing to do with the funeral home. The funeral home director, he was great. Could have asked for a better service for my little boy. But I told him if he ever heard something about them wanting to take care of the funeral expenses, because that's what it was supposed to be for, but I told them I wanted to make sure the other families were taken care of. And you can quote me on that, and if you don't believe me, ask the right people. I wanted to make sure the other families were taken care of if they didn't have the means to give their children that they lost a proper goodbye, a proper service. I said, and if they do come back and try to reimburse the funeral services after they're taken care of, I don't want any money. I said I would rather you take the cost of the funeral service and donate directly to the Benton Rangers wrestling program. And that was the end of it. I said I don't want any. I don't care where the rest of the money goes out. I don't care. That was a hypothetical situation. I wanted, my wishes to be known. Not once have I been contacted. Not once. Not an attempt. Nothing. So, my next question is, statement, I guess. I'm the one accused of profiting off my son's death. Who's in charge of making sure every dime of that GoFundMe is accounted for? That it's being spent properly? You know, did it go towards the funeral services for the other children? I don't know. Because nobody will tell you. Did it go towards cemetery costs or, you know, headstones? Don't know. Couldn't tell you. And let me make this clear. I don't want any of that money. I would have just liked to have had a call asking, what my opinion on it was. Or fuck you, kiss my ass, something. But no, nothing. I'm pretty well excommunicated from Benton. I go there, I run into people. Hell, I used to coach their kids in the Future Rangers program, the basketball camp. All these people won't even look at me. If they do, I can hear them talking amongst themselves behind my back. Like I'm, I don't know what. God knows what they're saying. But like I previously said, I don't care. But I needed to get this off my chest. Thank you for listening to me. Whether you agree with me or not, that's everyone's right to agree or disagree. But I think it's time that everyone heard my side of the story. Because I'm just about out of diplomacy. Long live Brad. Long live Landon. And long live Josie. Appreciate you guys' time. And I hope you have a great end to your weekend.